Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Watch Wrestling Podcast, episode 12, for those keeping track. Big WrestleMania review episode. Finally had an actual WrestleMania. WrestleMania was back in business this past weekend at Raymond James Stadium. 2 nights. There was also 2 nights of Takeover prior to that. 2 nights of the Hall of Fame. 3 nights of Michael Cole messing things up. 5 nights of Titus O'Neil. 4 nights at Walt Disney World. What else happened last week, Kris?
I think there was 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Right.
30 nights of Christmas on Fox Family Channel.
I mean, there was so many nights of things last week. Every night I felt like I had a shift, a part-time job to go to every night last week.
But you hit them all, right?
Yeah, I did tap out on live tweeting night 2, but it was because my laptop died and I was just done with the week at that point.
I understand. Night 2 wasn't as good as night 1 anyway. Hot take.
Yeah, so we are going to get to all of that. We are going to get to night 1, night 2, but first, what better time than now for you to be kind, subscribe, Watch Wrestling Pod. You can find the Watch Wrestling Podcast almost anywhere you find podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, Jeff Bezos, R2D2.
If you go to a high enough mountain, you can hear frequencies up there.
Anywhere you find podcasts, the back of your van, your trunk, in between your seats. Be kind, subscribe, Watch Wrestling Pod, YouTube. I gotta get back into posting shows on YouTube. I'll admit it. It's just such a tedious thing to post audio on YouTube. And follow us on social media. I live tweeted my way through so much wrestling last week. Thousands of impressions we got. But yeah, at W Wrestling Pod on Twitter, Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook, Watch Wrestling Pod on YouTube, and yeah, and then we won't have any problems. So, Kris, WrestleMania was last week. You watched WrestleMania. I watched WrestleMania. The rain was at WrestleMania. What did you think of WrestleMania's rain delay?
It was honestly pretty shocking. I thought they would have every measure in place to not have a rain delay. Like, how many WrestleManias have been outside? The last 20? Maybe not that much, but the last 15, 10, and there's never been a rain problem. And a lot of them are in Florida. So I thought they'd have all those measures in place, but no. Florida was just not today.
Yeah.
Deal with it. We want Mandy Rose to fall, and we want to laugh.
She wasn't the only one. A lot of people were slipping and falling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Just after over a year of the fans of wrestling not being able to attend WWE shows, finally, the fans are back. WrestleMania is back, and the weather is back as well. I mean, it was about 37 minutes, I want to say, before they were able to really get going. So that really elongated night 1. We got some impromptu promos from everybody in the back. Just all you could kind of tell all of the superstars. They were just so ready to just go out there and be back in front of the fans that it was almost like they were all cutting promos on the rain, the bad weather,
Yeah, I mean they were all pretty fun, the promos. Apparently, I know they got to be unscripted, right? So that was a nice touch to have that feeling back, even if it was just filler promos.
Yeah, I liked Kevin Owens' promo there, and then so that was an interesting use of time where you got the fans disappearing. Michael Cole and Samoa Joe are wearing ponchos. I mean, it was a sight for sure. So then we got the hosts of WrestleMania. What did you think just over the course of the 2 nights of the WrestleMania hosts, Titus O'Neil and Captain Jack Scallywop?
Ugh. Useless. No need. I don't know. I don't think anybody cared about them. It was pretty funny seeing them in those pirate getups, though. God, Hulk Hogan looked like a fool, and I was happy about it.
It just reminded me of all Hogan. Just reminded me just of how willing he is to partake in things that make him look like a fool. Like pasta. It's just pasta mania all over again, brother.
That's right. That's right. He heard about a payday. He said, "There's people like this.
Yeah,
I'll just
so he
was a
has
pirate,
ideas.
dude." Yeah, right.
Hulk Hogan, if I remember, could have been the name that was on the George Foreman grill, right? And I think he turned it down.
Ooh,
So good business
that's a bad move.
decisions. But here he was wearing the pirate garb. Kiar, brother.
I every time he came on the screen, I just wanted to wish I could fast forward. Thanks, Peacock.
They were booing him in Raymond James Stadium. I think WWE should just get the hint and just keep him locked up in the drawer there. Don't bring him out as often.
Yeah, there's no need to exactly because there's no need to bring up this Hulk Hogan. Okay, before this actual show we're recording, I just listened to Real American, just because I felt like it, and that was pretty nice. I don't want that to be tainted. Keep Hulk Hogan away from me forever.
Yeah, let's just put him away. And and then also just throughout WrestleMania, we had a quasi host of WrestleMania, someone who wasn't on the card, but yet still found time to get on screen, get some good screen time in the host of Bing Bong Boop, Bailey.
I mean, now there's a host. I never thought that. I always liked Bailey, but I didn't know she had this kind of skill in her, like maybe this kind of fun, I guess. So that's pretty fun to see her coming around. I enjoy her very much.
Yeah, I enjoy her ability to be, beyond obnoxious. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
She plays the part of the obnoxious person who's about to get thrown into something.
Yeah, which isn't that the character that everyone gets super over with? I mean, we all love those kind of characters. Then they eventually make us love them, and then they're just uber baby faces forever.
Yeah, I don't think I felt like she could have done the heel run, the original heel run, a little longer, but.
I mean, yeah, but that's not her fault. I mean, they're just not giving her anything. They never know what to do with anybody. So
yeah, they didn't give her a match, which all these people got singles matches. I'm sure Bailey could have, she's capable of 5-star matches, but
I think so. Sasha Banks versus Bailey at that takeover was one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, and let's now get into the actual review of WrestleMania 37. So, WrestleMania 37, Raymond James Stadium, night 1, night 2. There I was in front of my television. The fans were back. What did you think overall of the fan noise level throughout the night? I thought it was a little tempered.
Yeah, it's a huge stadium. Not a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there, but for that stadium size, so I expected that. Not bad. It wasn't bad though. I mean, it was nice to have some fans with some noise at least, because you could tell real noise from fake noise any day. So it's nice to see those real fans. I also was shocked about how they did it. I remember us talking about this probably in those podcasts that never made surface, but that we thought we were gonna have maybe screens and then people and screens and people, but it was just all people. It didn't look like there was any screens.
Yeah,
it's just like people from miles and miles away. So that was interesting. And still, even if they were a quiet crowd or a temporary crowd, at least it was real crowd noise.
Yeah, and speaking of real fans, I am so pumped for this documentary. Have you seen the trailer for this, the Super Fan documentary?
Oh yeah,
about
Vladimir.
About Vladimir, yeah. I saw that trailer and I watched it twice. I was like, yeah, I definitely want to see this documentary. This guy and several other people really should get the documentary. I mean, maybe they're just not the most interesting people, but yeah, this guy has been in the front row of damn near every wrestling event, it seems like, in the 90s and early 2000s. I don't know, does he still go? I mean,
I don't think he. Yeah, I don't know. I never really noticed him, but then as I was hearing about the documentary and he was coming up and everything, I kind of started watching old stuff and being like, oh, there he is. There he is. There he is.
I never knew his story. I always wanted to know him. And like I said, there's like 3 or 4 other guys. And there's several people that I'm sure they don't all know each other. I mean, maybe they do through wrestling, but there are other people too that are frequently in the front row. And I always, at a minimum, I always want to know, like, are these just rich people? Obviously, maybe not the case with Vladimir. He's the super fan, but most of these people that you just see their face over and over again, like front row, like at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, like front row all over the place. And it's like, are you just rich people who can just travel? Are you just rich? That's my first question. Are you rich?
They have to, like, how you're right, because let's put aside the price for tickets, especially front row tickets, especially pay-per-view tickets. How do you get to all these cities?
Right.
Like, that's pretty penny.
Right. You're on the road, brother.
That's true. Maybe they
Got
work for an airline.
Trans expenses. Hey, that would actually be interesting if you worked for an airline and you could just and you were just flying around and you could just kind of tee it up with WWE's schedule.
That seems logical to me, but kind of strange that all those people would be working in airlines and they all are wrestling fans. I don't know about that.
I don't know either, but I want to know. I want to talk to these people now. I want to any super fans of WWE. I want to talk to them because I want to know the logistics of being a super fan. But yeah. So moving on. Let's actually review WrestleMania. So Kris, the main event of WrestleMania. Let's start there. Roman Reigns defeats Edge and Daniel Bryan, the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania, by pinning both of them. What did you think of the finish there?
I mean, I was surprised that he won. I really thought Edge was going to win and change it up a little bit, but I do like that he pinned both of them. If he's going to be the tribal chief and the top dog, that's the way the tribal chief would do it. Put some respect on his name. I'm still okay with it. Yeah, he's not stale for me at all. I still love Roman Reigns right now, so I'm cool with it.
It's so uncommon that you would have basically a heel champion that was going into WrestleMania as the champion. He retains the title at WrestleMania. He's clearly WWE's choice as being the top guy. And he has been at like 6 WrestleManias, it seems like, at least, in this position. And we're finally now saying, yes, this is good, you know?
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, the fans kind of booed him, but in like a great, like, we're supposed to boo this guy, so we're going to boo him kind of way, which never happens anymore. So I love it.
Yeah, I don't think they were booing his performance at all. I mean, that match was... Oh, who was that? Was that Bad Bunny's truck driving by?
Yeah, he's going on tour. I don't know if you knew that.
And yeah, so I mean, I don't think they were booing Roman's like in-ring performance. That match, I thought that match was
yeah, no. Oh yeah, and I always want to hate on Edge. I don't know why, but the guy knows how to step up his game. I give it to him with his character work and his promos leading up to this. And even though he does look like an old man in there, sweating and just greasy hair, and his muscles look all beat up, he put on a great performance.
Yeah, I thought he looked good in this one. I thought he looked a little like he'd put on some muscle. He looked like the least old man-ish that he has looked, I thought.
Yeah, but I just can't get past it though. He still just looked like an old guy to me. He did look better, but he just looks like an old man. But he did a great. The performance wasn't an old man performance. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that match was like one of the best. That was one of the best triple threat matches I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of I'm hoping that they just continue it. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do next. I know that sometimes you want to end your story at WrestleMania and then go on to new stuff, but I don't know. Let's keep it going. Let's do a match against one-on-one. We got Edge versus Bryan. We got Reigns versus Edge. We got Reigns versus Bryan. Let's get it all out.
I mean, they could definitely keep it going after the way the match went. I liked how it was just that match seemed like it was put together just move by move. It just like clicked through the whole way from start to finish. It just seemed like they had a plan from start to finish and they just executed on it perfectly. Like I loved that double spear shoulder block. I mean, how did they? I watched that one a few times. How did they do that without breaking their collarbones? How do you go into a spear like that? Like, you're going to spear someone. Usually you're going to spear them in the stomach and the ribs, what have you. How do you go into a spear knowing that, like you're going to spear their shoulder and you have to get it exactly right? Otherwise, you can't really go full on. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, how do they not die?
I don't know. That's just, how Edge has been doing that shit for years. Like, how didn't he die in TLC matches and all that stuff. Taking that, doing the spear off of the ladder onto Jeff Hardy in that TLC match. I mean, taking all those bumps. He just knows what he's doing. He's pretty safe at that kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a Paul Heyman mark here, but with Paul Heyman and Daniel Bryan and Edge and Reigns putting a match together, it's going to be flawless.
I feel like that one they were allowed to it seems like just nobody got in their way of making that a good match. And if we find out tomorrow that maybe Johnny Ace and Bruce Pritchard booked this match, well, congratulations, it was a great match either way. I'm just saying, it seems like who that match was allowed to be as good as it could be, basically.
I agree. Oh, excuse me. That was a yawn.
And yeah, I mean, I like the finish. I like Roman just pinning both guys. Just the whole the evenness of everything, of Jey Uso coming in. Brian gets a concerto. He's twitching, pretending to twitch on the mat. Well, it's like Reigns pins both of them. Like I said, leaves WrestleMania, still the tribal chief, still the champion.
Great. It's a great visual too. You just see that photo, if it's a snapshot of Reigns pinning both men, he looks like the supreme badass. It's great.
And then in the other main event of WrestleMania, night 1, Bianca Belair defeats Sasha Banks, becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion. What'd you think of that one?
They put on a great show. Great. That's who should have won. It went the way it should have went. Another pretty outstandingly executed match, I think.
Yeah, this was a good match. I think they focused a lot on the fact that Bianca could do sort of power moves, she could just outmuscle, sort of like a female Cesaro, just using her strength to that was the edge she had over Sasha, was her strength.
Yeah, they came across that way, and it's true. But and Sasha's great at selling. As much as I kind of get sick of Sasha sometimes, not anymore. It's not really her fault. It's the fans' fault, but she can sell the best of them. So anytime a power move gets hit on her, it's damn, it is devastating.
And then just Bianca kills Sasha with a whip from her braid right to the ribs.
That's that was no selling on that one. That was real. Yeah.
Jeez. And then of course, so Bianca hits a KOD, gets the pin, and Michael Cole screams that Sasha kicks out when she did nothing of the sort.
What? I have no idea what the hell's going on there.
That was trippy to watch, to be honest, because it was so far off. A lot of times when they screw up the call, it's kind of almost what happened. You can kind of see how they could have messed it up. In that one, I mean, you have the bell ringing, everyone's going crazy, her family's out ringside, and then freaking Michael Cole is over here going, she kicked out. Dude, what are you reading, the wrong index card? Are you a robot?
He must have known how the finish was going to be, and that wasn't the finish.
Yeah.
So he just went with the call. I don't know. It was maybe if that was anyone else over the years, not Michael Cole, was been here for 30 years, fired.
It was just evident that people were not synced up, right? Because I don't think he was calling that where he noticed a kick out, and I think that was something where people were out of sync, and he had some info, like you said, where he thought he was understanding. His understanding was not the most updated by match time.
Oh yeah, it had to be that way because there's no excuse for that.
His notes were out of date, apparently.
Oh, I actually thought not when that happened, but after thinking about it, maybe Sasha in the ring just called it and said, you know what, one finisher is good enough. It makes the finisher look strong. Let's do it. And then Cole expects to be 4 kickouts, and then there's no kickouts, and he looks like an asshole. But that's okay because Michael Cole is kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Michael Cole can go right with Hulk Hogan. They can just put him in the cabinet.
Please go.
I think they are doing something soon.
It seems like it, yeah. He just started on Raw, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael, but I don't know. Was Michael Cole on Raw? I didn't watch Raw. I don't know.
No, he was not on Raw. He was on SmackDown, so he still might be on SmackDown.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be on SmackDown.
I hope not. Good riddance.
But okay, so the main event of night one that happened in the first match of night one, match one. Bobby Lashley retained the WWE title against Drew McIntyre in the very first match of WrestleMania. What do
A
you
good
think?
match. I'm actually happy that Lashley won. I like him as the champ. McIntyre put on a good match though. I forget that he has these kind of moves in him. He's such a big guy. But let's talk about the real meat. As you tweeted, the Hurt Business broke up for absolutely no reason.
Oh my god, it was the first thing I thought of. I mean, it was a very good match. It was like as good of a big man match as you're going to see, because these guys are both obviously very big and very strong, capable of, power slams left and right. And but they're also really athletic too and have a lot of stamina. So this wasn't, Ryback versus Mark Henry or other large gentlemen. This was actually like a big man / work rate match, I thought.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, on Raw, even though I only caught the end of Raw, T-Bar and Mace from Retribution seem to be a lot like linked up with MVP and Lashley. So maybe the Hurt Business is just different now. I don't know.
Well, either way, we had speculated last week on our preview show that the only reason why they were breaking up the Hurt Business, which was such a well-liked group, was so that way the fans would cheer the right guy come WrestleMania when Drew inevitably wins. Can you imagine? All this time we've been talking for so long about, oh, this is finally Drew McIntyre's moment in front of the fans to hold the title up and be anointed and all this stuff. Can you imagine after all that talk? I want to know when they decided that to have Lashley retain. Maybe it was the plan all along. I have no idea.
I don't think so. For some reason, I don't give him credit. I feel like that changed on like Friday. Drew thought he was going to win the whole time, and then Friday they were like, no, it's Lashley time.
I mean, I don't have a problem with Lashley as the champion. I don't have a problem with him retaining either. I mean, if anybody could use a dominant win to bolster their title run, it's him. He could use it, So.
Oh yeah, fine. Yeah, definitely. I think it's fine. And McIntyre looked great. He looks great. He's going to be fine. I don't know. There's rumors there might be a draft, so maybe he'll go to SmackDown and take on Reigns. But if he does that, he'll probably lose too. So maybe not. But they both look like they're main event stars, though. Even in the loss, McIntyre is still pretty good. And I wish Raw was just better as a show, but they're good.
Right. And then now we're going to just keep bouncing around. This review is not going in chronological order. I don't know if I said that. We're going in Watch Wrestling Pod order, which is the way I want to go. So then kicking back over tonight to Rhea Ripley beating Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. This was a good match too. I like this one. First of all, but what did you think of the musical performance of Ripley's entrance music?
I mean, it makes her look like she's a big deal, but I don't know. That performance was pretty terrible.
This is my brutality. That performance, when I was listening to it, it reminded me of myself doing karaoke. So if you guys ever want to know what I personally sound like doing karaoke with like quality audio equipment, it's that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it sounded. And I couldn't hear any of the music. I was thinking, well, maybe I couldn't think of anything. It just, her voice was out doing the actual music. So it was just her karaoke style voice. And it's a hard song to sing, I would say. It sounds like, but at least she comes off as a badass coming down to a band. They only do that for important people. So at least, hopefully, that's what comes out of that. I mean, she won, so.
Yeah, and I like this match too. I mean, there was a lot of matches that I liked. I didn't have a lot to complain about on this WrestleMania, about how they actually executed the show. I was glad they didn't do too much, just in general with the two nights. They did the skits with Bayley, but I'm glad they didn't try to load this thing up with backstage appearances and angles and just, maybe a segment like a KO show segment. I'm glad they didn't try to like book this. They really did just kind of go match to match to match to match to match. And they were all, for the most part, good matches. And this was just another good match. I like the ending. Asuka goes to kick Rhea Ripley's head straight off of her body. Doesn't work. Ripley gets the riptide. And then, yeah, I thought she looked great.
Yeah, good. You're right. I think there was no real there was no match that was terrible. They're all pretty good. It flowed pretty well. Both nights kind of went by fast. Pretty good WrestleMania. It didn't have that big feel that WrestleMania has, but it's okay if the performances are there, and they were.
Yeah. I mean, it was missing. It was just sort of a well executed show, basically. Right? There wasn't any, like I said, they didn't overdo it with too many weird segments, but they also didn't. There was nothing. Almost nothing felt like larger than life. It was really just here are the best wrestlers of the day, and I mean a pretty dominant group of people won. Right? If you look at just the winners, it's like Roman, Lashley, Ripley, Bianca, like all these people that are now the singles champions. It's like a pretty badass group, I think, coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now I want to talk about Bad Bunny. So
let's do it.
Initial thoughts before we dive in. Just your initial thoughts on Bad Bunny's WrestleMania, his first match.
I think he might be the greatest celebrity wrestler I've ever seen.
He's up there for sure. I mean, this guy looked great the whole time. The entrance was cool. This wasn't overdone. It was just a great entrance. Yep. They didn't task him with doing too much and having him look stupid in the process. Or,
yep.
I mean, he comes in on the back of the semi truck. I just thought it was really badass that he is coming into his own song. You know,
that's always a badass move. Yes,
because a lot of times we have two things. Somebody will record their own lyrics, like the Shawn Michaels, "Sexy Boy," or somebody will be like Tyler Breeze, whoever. They'll have their own voiceover on it. Or in other times, they will have their song and they will try to kind of like dance to the song, but they're supposed to be coming out as like a tough guy fighter, and they're like bobbing their head and it looks stupid. In this case, it's like, no, this is this guy's song. He actually performs it. So I think it was good. And yeah, I liked all the entrances with the AR, the augmented reality. They're getting a lot better at that. They're getting a lot better at like just putting that into the arena instead of making it look like a 3D Photoshop image that they lost control of.
Absolutely, because that's been happening probably up until this WrestleMania, so they finally figured it out.
Yeah, they've been getting better at that, just using the angles, and like they had the skeleton with the sword, and he was supposed to be kind of reaching into the arena. But Damian Priest had the arrows and everything. It was good.
Oh yeah.
And the actual match, oh boy, I think we expected a typical celebrity tag team match. You know, the wrestlers start or whatever happens, you get the hot tag, you get to see what the celebrity has in them. They do one move and, you know, they're out the door. Or they poop themselves and they're out the door. And it's like this dude was hitting, was it a tilt-a-whirl Hurricane Rana?
Yes.
A drop toe hold, a Canadian destroyer on the outside, or a bunny destroyer, as Bad Bunny Stan Booker T pointed out.
I mean, that's why he's the best, I think, ever. He really took it seriously, everything, and put in some work. I mean, give credit to Morrison and Miz, but still, you got to put in the work to do those kind of things. And he really took everything as seriously as he needed to. And I'll take him back anytime.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, I mean, when you watch people come out on wrestling that aren't wrestlers so often over the years, it's so hard to make it look not that difficult, right? For these performers, it's so hard to just walk down the ramp and not look stupid. You know what I mean? It's so hard to just not look like a fish out of water, and everything just flowed. I mean, I don't think he's going to go win the G1. I'm not saying he's an actual great wrestler.
Yeah.
But just the selling, when he's selling those moves, it was just great. It did not look like it was his first match at all.
Oh yeah, that means, you know, that means him and Pat McAfee, the last two like celebrities I can remember, both phenomenal.
Yeah. Better than Shaq. He did better than Shaq.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
So yeah, Bad Bunny looked hilariously good, I thought, in that one.
Yeah, but Damian Priest is just gonna always be associated with that, so I think he'll get the rub, an old school rub.
Yeah, hopefully they keep the momentum going with him.
Yeah, that's the problem. We'll see about that. Yeah.
Okay, so now we can talk. We're gonna jump back over to night 2. I don't really have a good segue for this one, but night 2, the opener of night 2. What was the opener of night 2?
Oh man, I watched it too. Was that? It was The Fiend.
Yeah. So you were handling the tweeting for a little while there. I was just retweeting. I thought I was going to get kicked off Twitter. I retweeted like 8 of your tweets back to back to back. And you called Randy Orton Mordecai in this one. And I'm like, what could that possibly mean? Like, what did he do? Dye his hair white?
It was just his bright white trunks.
Yeah, he was wearing white.
And like, I mean, also like going up against this like evil force. That's what Mordecai was supposed to do, go up against the Undertaker. So it just reminded me of that so clearly.
So this one, I liked the video of the Fiend walking in the back and sort of morphing back into the original The Fiend.
Yeah.
You know, that was great. Little things like that. That is all I need. I don't need to know all this. I don't need all this stuff, a lot of the stuff, but just the idea that, okay, he was burnt to a crisp and he's a monster already. What do you want to know? I mean, he's a monster he's a demon that gets summoned by a children's TV character on a kid's show, and then the demon shows up. Okay, so it's fine. It's all supernatural. So he turns back into the Fiend, shiny, like dripping. The Fiend this mask was like, what do they do? Dip it in bleach? Like, this mask was clean.
Yeah, they probably did.
This thing was like fresh out of the oven.
That had to mean something.
Well,
it has to mean something.
We didn't really get to see too much because this match was cloaked in red.
Oh, I can't stand that though. I know they're going for that like that motif or whatever, but just stop it.
I was fine with it in this one actually, because I feel like they are lightening up a little bit on the red. It's not this blood red where you can't even see in front of you. It seems like they're lightening it up a little bit. And it was a very short match, so that helps. And I just didn't think it was that bad. Like when you're trying to do like when Daniel Bryan is leaping over the top rope into a sea of red, like he's just risking his life. You can't even see it.
Okay, that's fair.
But in this one, like I said, it was a short match. And so the Fiend's entrance was kind of cool too. So they show him like he's about to walk out, getting ready. I just really always like the guy's about to walk out type videos, when you can get that right.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Absolutely.
And then, but he didn't walk down the ramp. He popped out of a Jack in the Box. What do you think of the Jack in the Box?
Hey, it's cool. If you're going to go with an entrance like that, it does kind of, like you said, it kind of like you see him transforming, the backstage walk, and then he uses his mystical powers to come out of the Jack in the Box. That's pretty good. I like this kind of, I'm okay with it. I like the Fiend. I like the supernatural bullshit. I'm good.
Well, I love the Fiend. I still like the Fiend. I still like his music, his entrances. They always find a way to make me care. Like, they haven't blown it yet, even though they have definitely blown it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but the funny thing is like Alexa comes out and there's this Jack in the Box. Like, what else would be in the thing besides Bray Wyatt? Like, what else is in this? Like, of course, that's where he is. Like, it's not like he has a brother and maybe it's his brother in the box, or it's not like he has a manager and maybe it's his manager, or maybe it's a lightning bolt. Like, it's him. Like, he's gonna come out of it. Of course, it was like there was like no surprise whatsoever. But then the Fiend on top of the Jack in the Box just dives onto Randy Orton to get the match started. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, it was a impactful entrance. I mean, yeah, you knew it was the Fiend in that Jack in the Box, but sometimes it's okay that you know what's going to happen. You're excited to see it. You're like, the Fiend's going to be in there. He's going to come out and start wrecking shit. And that's what he did.
So as someone here myself, who I'm a fan of like Marvel movies, I'll admit it. I'm willing to admit it. I mean, this is a wrestling podcast. I think I'm open to ridicule for my tastes. But as someone who I would stick around in the movie theater for the post-credit scenes and I always want to know how everything is tied together. This story is there's no story. It's just the Fiend character. There's no continuity whatsoever. It's just weekly magical segments, and it's like there's no canon. It's really just like the Fiend community theater. Like come out every week and watch this man do his whatever he's got for an act this week. Like it's
Yeah.
not there's the week to week is not connected as far as the supernatural elements go.
That's definitely true. It's kind of like he's almost like a magician. That what you're describing right there sounded to me like a magician. Like, come this week and see the tricks. Next week will be in a different city, but we'll be doing those tricks. And like you said, they haven't screwed up yet. I still like the Fiend too, and like I want to think that there's a story with Alexa Bliss, but
Well, there is. She
probably
turned
not.
on him. I didn't even know what happened. I mean, I'm watching this match and I see Alexa at the end. Alexa Bliss distracts the Fiend, who gets one RKO and then loses by pinfall. Right? Randy Orton wins. But what I didn't know, and this is what I mean by this, like I don't know what is going on ever, and you never really find out. It's not like a certified like cliffhanger. It's really just gibberish, right? So Alexa pops up on top of the Jack in the Box, oozing out black liquid out of flowing down her face from a crown-like apparatus on her head, right?
Yeah.
Just leaking in this evil black liquid. So this distracts the Fiend. But I mean, was she kidnapped? Did someone trap her? Was she leaking this? Was this her evil energy leaking out of her? Was she herself in charge? Like, I didn't get what was happening. He's distracted. Yeah. Was he distracted because she's in some type of danger? Someone has.
Yeah,
I don't look like to me.
See, I try to put it together too, and in my head, she is the one. She's been pulling the strings the whole time, and her whole plan was to get him back, just to like fuck with him. But like, I don't know where this leads, because unless it's gonna be Alexa versus the Fiend, who knows? Is she Sister Abigail? Is Sister Abigail still a thing?
I don't think so. I think it's.
I don't think so either.
She's not. They just went with her being like the story was that the Fiend took her, right?
Yeah.
Just he scared her in the ring one time.
Is it like this thing where like she was scared at first, but yeah, she's possessed now, and now she like is the mastermind, and she's gonna mess with him now? And is there gonna be somebody that she's gonna use as like a bring back and be like a conduit? Like I saw that star thing in the back. I know it's just a pentagram, but I mean, some people think that might be Aleister Black. I don't know where it's going. I kind of want to see the Fiend versus Alexa Bliss, and I kind of want to see Alexa Bliss do some voodoo shit and fuck with him and maybe beat him, and then eventually he wins, and then we all like, oh, monster with a heart of gold. But does that get over? I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, like I said, I couldn't even tell. Like, was she distracting him, or was she in trouble, and he needed to help her, or was it a heel turn? I didn't even know. I know it cost him the match, but it just wasn't clear enough to me what the heck was going on. Like, what was she revealing? Was she revealing I have the power to have black ink shoot out of my head? Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like she distracted him enough for him to lose, and he popped right back up to look at her. So it seemed like, I don't know. You're right. Is she like the urn to the Undertaker?
Right.
I don't know.
Just weird. So yeah, the whole idea of let's see where this goes. No, it's not really going anywhere, and we're really just seeing what happens.
Yeah, I guess we will.
All right, so now we can do my new favorite wrestler. Right now, I have a new favorite wrestler.
Ooh.
So new favorite wrestler. Spoiler: we were supposed to do my new favorite wrestler last week. It was going to be Danhausen. Danhausen will be my favorite wrestler again. I assure you. Don't worry. We will get back to Danhausen being my new favorite wrestler. But I have a new favorite wrestler right now. It's my new favorite giant. My new favorite giant in wrestling. Not a big man, not a sumo, not Akibono. My new favorite giant human in wrestling is Almost.
There you go. Look at that.
Because he did almost nothing in this match. Nothing. He called Xavier. His most effective move was calling Xavier Woods a little bitch, right on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, so AJ Styles and Amos beat the New Day for the Raw Tag Team titles. I was dying during this match because I love how the New Day are cutting off the ring, keeping the big guy in the corner out of the match. And while this is happening, you have Woods is just letting the commentary team know what they're doing and what they can talk about, like giving them talking points. Like, we have effectively cut the ring in half.
Yeah.
AJ is unable to tag out. It was just great. That was great.
Great stuff. Yeah.
And they really built to this moment. There could have been more for sure, but they built to this moment of almost getting in the ring. And, you know, I didn't really have high hopes for this one. And then almost gets in the ring and he's just this gigantic. I didn't really even realize how big this dude was.
Yeah, he's a massive person. Yeah.
He is so large. I mean, is he bigger than, how tall actually is he? Do we know his actual height or at least the build height or anything? I don't.
I think I want to say it's 7'2". Let's see if I can.
Well, the Giant Gonzalez was billed as 8 feet tall, so he's not taller.
I don't think he's 8 feet tall. Let's see the bill. Oh man, big man. I only have his. Oh, look at that. This is his build height is 7'3".
Yeah, it's probably close to there. And then, you know, with just his wrestling gear, just not even trying to give him wrestling gear. Like, he's too big. He's too big to wear your athletic costumes. He's just going to come out. Like, he's going to wear the same thing he would wear in the back of a limo, being somebody's bodyguard, and that he's going to wear in this athletic contest. Because he's not going to get that athletic.
Yeah.
Because he's so
Don't
big.
waste your time.
He doesn't have to.
Exactly. I mean, it's effective though. Sometimes I don't know if you're being dry or serious, but I do like him too. I think he's very big and brooding and dominating.
I don't have much hope. Like, I don't see him being the next Andre the Giant. But it took me by surprise the ring presence he has as a giant, like a legit giant. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's a place for him. I think there'll always be a place for someone like that, as long as they can book it well, and I think they have so far. So
I don't think they will. But
I don't think they will either.
He almost looking good in his debut, right? He pins Kofi with just 1 foot.
That's what you have to do if you're a giant.
So I was supposed to let the audience know which night each match was from. So that was night 1, right? Was the Raw Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna keep on night 1. Rollins versus Cesaro. I didn't know there was gonna be any unidentified flying objects in Raymond James Stadium.
Ooh, X-Files.
Did you see that UFO? That was great. I mean, and Rollins is just up there, like, just like, it was great.
Yeah, I know Rollins sometimes gets a bad. Some people shit on Rollins. I don't know why. The guy knows how to perform. He's great. Sometimes he does some corny stuff, and sometimes I get sick of him. And he doesn't really know. I don't know. He's just a top performer. So was Cesaro. What else do we expect? Something weird like that.
I'm glad that I'm glad that I don't know what made them do this year. I'm glad that they just chose to pick like singles matches or one tag team versus one tag team. You know, like, I'm glad that we didn't get every match. Like, there was one WrestleMania where I think it might have been WrestleMania 2000 where there was like no singles matches on it. Everything was just this convoluted mess. And for whatever reason, with this particular WrestleMania, they just chose singles match. You know what I mean? And so it's really weird. But I liked it. I like that we just got Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. And Cesaro wins, finally gets, just a spotlight singles win at WrestleMania. And now we all will have our hearts broken like we did when he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And then he didn't even get to feud with Kane.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Let alone, I mean, he didn't even get his push properly killed by Kane.
So yeah, I mean, yeah.
But now,
Hopefully, I mean, even if he gets fed to Roman Reigns, at least he'll be in a main event for the world title.
yeah,
We'll
I
see.
think, I mean, there's got to be something next for Cesaro, right? Because even if you kind of break away from the Roman, Bryan, Edge title picture, I mean, you could do Cesaro, you could use Edge to build up Cesaro further if you want, if they wanted to, or you could
Ooh.
just feed Cesaro to Edge too.
Yeah, that's good.
Like
I
Edge
think
Cesaro, not bad.
that's where I wanted to go too. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So yeah, so I like that match. I like the UFO, and then just the amount of spins in that match. Like, if you're Seth Rollins, are you literally like, if I pass out, I pass out. Screw it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just do it. He'll wake up. If he passes out, he'll wake up in 10 seconds or something. Slap him in the face. Do something. We're good.
Because what happens is when you're spinning around, the blood starts to rush to your head, like a top. So it's like all the blood goes to your head, and it just concentrates there, and you end up passing out. I mean, you'd have to go pretty fast, but going 20 times or 24 spins or whatever he did, I mean, it's definitely possible.
I thought he was gonna pass out. I didn't think he was coming out from that.
I would not want to. I can't imagine the feeling right after you get those 24 spins.
Yeah, right.
I bet you are fucked up. Yeah. So now let's jump over to night 2 of WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship Nigerian drum fight. What did you think of the Nigerian drum fight?
I mean, it was decent. It was a good match. They both put on some good performances. I've seen all that kind of like beat some with a candlestick shit before, but I didn't really mind it. I liked it. I like that Apollo won. I even like that he has that mysterious giant man that no one knows about unless you watch Raw Underground, helping him.
Or Evolve.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm glad he won. I'm getting a little concerned about the amount of wrestlers that are paired up with giants, though. It's like AEW has all these factions, WWE has all these guys who are buddies with giants. You got Cruz now with Double Kato and AJ Styles, and even Elias and Jackson Riker or whatever. It's a common thing they're doing now.
I was going to say something about Jackson Riker. I'll save it. Double Kato he's not called Double Kato though. He's going to be something else. But yeah. So the Nigerian drum fight, like it was just a weapons match. I mean, this was Raven versus Hardcore Holly. Like, it was just, I didn't get anything Nigerian or drums related. I mean, I don't really know. I get Apollo is Nigerian, so it's like a Nigerian. They could have called it a Nigerian street fight. I mean, I don't know what they were going for, but it wasn't really like unique in any way. And then Apollo wins the heel move, bringing in a very large individual to just do the run in and help you get the win. So now we'll probably, like you said, Double Kato is going to be with Apollo, and I think it's okay because what it tells me is that they've tried things, and they're trying this as another thing with, well, it's like, well, if you can't get over on your own, or if we can't get you over on your own, maybe, standing behind somebody for a little while. That's like the tried and true. Stand behind this guy, and then people will wonder who's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it works. I think that with Apollo's character, I think having some sort of badass dude with him to carry out his dirty work works for me. I like stables. I know I just said AEW has a ton of stables, but I love groups, so I'm all for it. And they're both, and the Double Kato is also Nigerian, so it's not like when Yokozuna was playing a Japanese sumo wrestler as a Samoan. It's actually kind of true, so I like it.
Yeah, it's tougher now. I mean, wrestling is the sport of stereo, or the show, the thing, entertainment form of stereotypes, right? So like, we're just numb to it. So I do hope that any cultural references that they do, whether it be African or Nigerian or just, I just hope that they do enough research and
Yeah.
speak with the actual people involved and making sure that they're not, even if they're not offending the individuals doing the whatever the gimmick might be, as long as it's just well researched and not in any way
Yes.
like diminutive, like so many
Great
like
point.
sports teams and stuff. So I mean, and I wouldn't even know half the time, to be honest, like if a certain character is crossing the line, or
Yeah.
I mean, obviously like Kamala is like you wouldn't see a Kamala in 2021
no.
or
Shouldn't have saw it
Tatanka,
back then.
right?
Yeah.
But I just mean like there's also the idea of like letting these individuals bring their own creativity and their own culture to their character. So you want to do that. But I just hope that they don't go with some hokey, like it's just like, I don't know, something
yeah.
culturally insensitive to like Africans or something. You know?
Yeah, they don't, because I think you're right. I think that you should let Apollo and Dabba-Kato kind of dictate how they're going to do with this gimmick, because they're both. I mean, Apollo's not like he. I think he grew up in America, but I think his mom was Nigerian, so he's Nigerian, and Dabba-Kato is like from Nigeria, like he lived there for a while, so like they know, but they don't know how to book. The WWE doesn't know how to book these kind of factions as heels and have them lose without crossing that line that you're talking about.
Yeah, like
That's the
the
problem.
heel, like when you make like basically a foreign person a heel, it's just so tough to get it right, and they almost never do.
They almost never do. I don't think that. Hopefully this is different. Hopefully they listen to them, but I don't know. Do we really have faith in that kind of stuff? I don't know.
So yeah, so Dabba-Kato making his return at WrestleMania. This strange individual wasn't exactly Kane's debut.
No, he was at WrestleMania though.
Yeah, briefly. And which we'll talk about the Hall of Fame before we get out of here. We're gonna run through the last of this. So then now let's stay on night 2. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. This was just a great match. I mean, I just love this match. These guys just beat the crap out of each other. Brainbuster on the ring apron by Sami Zayn. That was hilarious. I mean, these guys, you could tell that they know each other well enough to deliver each other decent amounts of actual head trauma.
That's well put.
I mean, if you've seen, like, they would just beat each other senseless with chairs in Ring of Honor. But even now, it's like, they're just they work well together, and it was a great match.
Yeah.
And so we get a stunner, right, to end things. Kevin Owens wins, looks like a badass. And then Logan Paul gets in the ring, sides with Kevin Owens. Then Logan Paul gets a stunner for his efforts. Thank you for coming to WrestleMania, Logan Paul.
If you're going to be a badass, you have to stun everyone.
I mean, it was almost like I obviously he's in the ring, Kevin Owens. It's like, just stun him. I think.
Yeah, I know.
that's a trope that I think I would be okay with, is just brings like B-level celebrities in and just be like, oh, well, if you're in the ring with Kevin Owens, he's going to stun you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Tough. I thought Logan Paul wasn't too bad either taking that stunner, but he took it like with a flip. I think Owens fucked him up on that one.
Then also on night 2 was loaded up with all the title matches, I feel like. Sheamus versus Riddle. The ending here was good. We did get a jackhammer in this match. Better than the jackhammer that Goldberg delivered to The Fiend when he won the Universal title, I might add.
That's true.
Matt Riddle can actually pick a man up off his feet.
I got to tell you, I liked it. Sheamus has been putting on performances lately I've enjoyed. Like I tweeted and like I think I kind of got sick of Sheamus years ago, but he, I begrudgingly admit that he's still pretty good in the ring. And as much as Riddle as a doofus annoys the shit out of me, he's also very good in the ring. So
yeah,
it's a good match. And I can't believe that they took the belt off Riddle that fast. It was a brutal kick to the face, though.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, upside down brogue kick to the bro.
Oh, and that was a kick.
And I mean, Matt Riddle's an MMA fighter, so as much as he acts like an idiot, obviously he's an MMA fighter. He's not.
Oh yeah.
Afraid of stuff like that. He's not too concerned.
I don't think that he acts like an idiot per se. They just tell him to be an idiot.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just. I hope that they I hope that whoever came up with that character loves and cherishes it,
Fair.
because I don't.
That's all right. I don't think anyone does.
But yeah, Sheamus wins. We'll see what they do with Sheamus. Cool. Good for Sheamus.
That sounds about right.
Night 1, tag team turmoil. Natalya, Lana win. And then the next night, they face Shayna and Nia Jax. Okay, cool. That happened. Those things happened.
Those things happen, yes.
And
Lana still didn't get a win, so she really did just go through all those tables and all that shit, all those Raws, just because Rusev went to AEW.
it's just stupid. So, and then also last week was such a blur. 2 nights of NXT Takeover. Did you watch both nights?
I did.
Did you have a favorite match?
Do you even remember? Even though I don't think it was the best match. I just really like Karrion Kross a whole lot.
Yep, that was.
So I really enjoyed that match. Walter and Ciampa though. Walter, come on.
Oh,
that match was brutal. Oh.
Great. I don't know what it is. Walter is so amazing. I mean, I don't know why. Like, this is WWE's issue right now is they always, like certain people focus on the ratings of like Raw and SmackDown. And like, I just think that they don't put their efforts into putting their stars on those shows or people that might be interesting. Like, obviously it's expensive to fly Walter to the US. Can't always do it during the pandemic, etc. But geez, this guy has been the UK champion for like 2 years. And he has some of the best matches. He's definitely one of the best and most unique guys on the roster. It's like, Walter, wasted talent in WWE. And he's winning championship matches, and I'm saying that.
Oh yeah, but he gets to basically wrestle in Europe like he wants to in Germany and do it. I'm sure they pay him well. It's like, I know what you're saying. I want to see him every week. Like, I want to see Imperium every week.
Yeah, on
Raw. I want to see them all. Yeah.
They're better than
give me that.
They're better than Retribution.
Oh, way better. But I don't want to see him on Raw because I don't trust Raw. So let's just we don't want to ask for too much here because we're not going to get what we need.
True. And so yeah, that match was great. Walter just smacking clear through the table. Just Ciampa working his hands the whole match. Like, you could tell even Walter's hands must have been just on fire by the end of that match.
Oh yeah. It was. I'm glad that Ciampa has that back in him. He kind of like went off the path, but he still is that main event guy who can do whatever. He's a very versatile guy.
Yeah.
I don't ever want him to come up either because he'll be on 205 Live like Tony Nese or something. So.
No, Ciampa will come up to the main roster, and Vince McMahon will be like, "Superstar Billy Graham, I thought I already inducted you in the Hall of Fame. I thought you've been in the Hall of Fame for like 15 years. What are you doing up here?"
Oh, might have him shot because of all that steroid shit.
Oh yeah, and so that was a great match. I also liked O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. I liked the ending in that one.
Oh yeah,
brutal wrapping chain around your leg. I loved the ladder match, Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin. Jordan Devlin, what was it, a moonsault off of the top of the ladder? Just
like
he could have died, man. What are you doing?
I know, just for this, Escobar is a great talent. I love him.
I also liked Pete Dunne versus Kushida.
Yeah,
great match.
I forgot about that match. Yeah, you're right. I also Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai. I mean, it was a great 2-night NXT, really.
And then, right, just to follow that one up, right on the first episode of NXT back on Tuesdays, Kushida wins the Cruiserweight title. Jordan Devlin flies all the way from Ireland, all the way from Bray, Ireland, and doesn't win the match. Unifies his title with Escobar, unifies the titles just to lose them to Kushida on NXT.
But
spoiler.
I'm okay. I'm hoping that Kushida just has a long dominant run with the Cruiserweight title and Escobar moves on up. Because remember, before Cross
got hurt before he won the title the first time. Him and Escobar were having some shit. So let's go. I'm ready for Escobar to be in the main event picture. I think Escobar's going to be called up though. He's going to one of the shows. That's going to make me sad.
Somebody is. I mean, they are packed with men down there. So many men.
They really are.
Sweaty men down there. I think, maybe Finn Balor, maybe Santos Escobar. I feel like finally Isaiah Swerve Scott is going to get a push in NXT and be recognized. Yeah. I mean, literally, my favorite guys in NXT right now are like Swerve, Santos Escobar, Kushida, and Pete Dunne, probably.
Oh, Pete Dunne too, yeah. Yeah, Swerve is doing, I know. They always go through like lulls in NXT where it's like, all the guys got called up or they're all gone now and we don't know any of these guys. And then all of a sudden you turn around a few months later and it's like, oh shit, you have Pete Dunne, you have Kushida, you have Swerve, you got Escobar, you got Cross, you got Cole, O'Reilly, like everybody.
Yeah, I think probably if Santos Escobar doesn't go up to SmackDown, probably, then they might put him in I could see him and Karrion Kross in a program. Pete Dunne, Karrion Kross would be great. NXT is just doing good right now. There's so many good guys on there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, hey, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Any other wrestling related stuff from WrestleMania week that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about?
Let's see. No, I mean,
so many matches. I mean, I can't even believe I watched all that wrestling, and I still found time. Found time to watch the Dark Side of the Ring Confidential episode on the life and crimes of New Jack. I snuck that one in at like midnight when I couldn't sleep one night. Watch that on YouTube. I watched a bootleg of it. Sorry, Conrad.
He doesn't need the money. He's fine.
And lastly, before we get out of here, we got a double stack of Hall of Fame ceremonies this year. What did you think of just the new format first of the Hall of Fame with it being kind of more condensed?
I get why they did it. It's fine with me. I don't need Hillbilly Jim going on for 4 hours, honestly. I feel like now is where we're getting to the time where the people who are in the Hall of Fame aren't the Jake Roberts, aren't the Bobby Heenans, those great speeches, the Ric Flairs that we've seen. So we don't need 2.5 hours of stories. We just need some quick, concise. And I'm okay with it, honestly. So it's a breeze to watch. It goes by fast.
So are you saying that you don't want to go messing with that country boy, Hillbilly Jim?
That's right.
Or you do want to go messing with a country boy?
I do not. Ever.
Yeah. Some of the folks that get inducted, they definitely do not deserve more than 5 minutes. But then some of them, it's like we wouldn't have these great stories. We wouldn't have if they weren't in these Hall of Fame speeches. Like you just said, all the Jake Roberts and all the guys that gave great speeches. You never really know who's going to give a good speech until they actually do it. So like I could have gotten a lot more out of NWO minus Hogan, even though they've all already been up there. Definitely more RVD.
Oh yeah.
Because once I don't know why I'm just like I'm a mark for the Hall of Fame, I think, because in my mind, it's like these are some of your favorite characters. And now we're at the stage, I felt really old watching it on last Tuesday, because now we're at the stage where all of my favorite wrestlers from when I was a kid, and not like when I was like a little kid playing with the Hasbros, like when I was like my formidable wrestling fan years, when I was like yelling at my mom that I wanted to wear a DX shirt to school. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
Now all the wrestlers from my era are getting inducted, and I'm the old guy who's like, you don't understand. The NWO was cool. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like you don't understand.
Dude, for me, it's Rob Van Dam. Like seeing him in the Hall of Fame is shocking to me. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, definitely.
Like.
And when they start listing off, like this is their last, this is sort of like part of their biography of their wrestling story, right? It's like they get to list off who helped them get in the business, give all their thanks for people. And you never know who, you wouldn't know all that if you didn't get to watch these guys go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Hall of Fame essentially is a show, right? It's not like this voted in prestigious. I mean, amongst the wrestlers, it's an achievement that they aspire for, but everybody's going to get in,
Yeah.
So everybody except for a few people, but they had like the legacy wing too, where they put in who was in this year. I know Gary Hart went in this year.
Yeah, Gary Hart. That was
Paul
that's all I remember.
Bosch. Yep, I just still mark out for the old guys. When I was a kid, man, I would never care about anything black and white wrestling, all that patina filtered wrestling. I didn't care about it at all. I was like, this is for the old timers. Get this out of here. But now it's like I'm obsessed with the territories, wrestling territories. So I'm like, yeah, don't you remember 85 in Houston? And I wasn't even alive.
Who would have? Yeah, I know what you mean. Hey, CWA actually has some stuff on Amazon Prime Video. Just as a sidebar.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's
Amazon
fucking.
Prime?
But I saw Jim Hellwig and Steve Borden as the Blade Runners in a match. It was freaking crazy.
But yeah, so I definitely marked out to RVD, even the NWO. Obviously, they're definitely dated, but even Molly Holly. I mean, that was
Oh yeah.
Whenever I hear these wrestlers, whether it's the inductor or one thing that was good this year was I liked that they would cut to the current day wrestlers almost on the red carpet, even though it was a kayfabe red carpet. It wasn't even real.
Yeah.
And but they would just talk about how this person, what it meant to them as an individual, them as a fan when they were younger. And when you kind of hear the same thing, you would recognize a certain person, in the chaos of the Attitude Era Raws or the end of the Attitude Era when they were so full of talent that stuff was just happening and you wouldn't even be able to keep track and there was all this stuff. So much stuff was flying under the radar, as far as like just talented people coming in. It's like when you can finally hear the wrestlers have the same opinion that you did, like, yeah, we all loved Molly Holly. It's like, oh, I loved Molly Holly. Wow.
Oh yeah.
When it's like when you hear that, or like when RVD said that Vince McMahon told him that his style influenced a lot of the current generation. It's like, yeah, no, I want to scream like, no fucking shit, Vince. No fucking shit. No shit, man. RVD did influence the style of today because he was ahead of his time. He was underrated, underappreciated. And it's like, I just want to be like,
One of a kind.
We all saw it back then.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's definitely, it's great to see that. I mean, it's because if you think about these wrestlers are pretty young. Think about how young some of these guys are wrestling now and ladies. So who else are they going to look up to? Those guys. Like you said, we're all old now. We're all old and everybody's young.
Like when this Hall of Fame stuff would first start happening all the years as it kind of ramped up year after year, I would watch the old time guys, Ric Flair, like you said, Hillbilly Jim, all these guys give their speeches. It's like, yeah, whatever, old timer. I'm sure it was great. And then Vince bought your company, and it's like, and now it's like, these are people, like I said, that I would watch growing up. And now they're finally RVD getting in the Hall of Fame, even Kane. Like,
absolutely.
That highlight package of Kane was like the best summation of a wrestler's, like, to make a wrestler's career look badass, like using that song The Red by Chevelle.
Yeah.
I don't care if that song is from 18 years ago. It was the perfect song to use. It just made Kane, it just looked like a whole body of work, it just looked like, and that's kind of like what you want in a Hall of Fame, like, career. If you're a wrestler, is just your whole body of work is great together. Like, like The Undertaker, it's just, how many videos are there, cut scenes of him just, sawing the casket, coming out of the casket. You just have this 30 plus year library. And it's almost as long, really, with Kane. Kane's like has super longevity as far as how long his career went, of just choke slamming people through the floor. Flames. There's just, how many flames have there been with Kane? Just flames everywhere. And I think I don't know if I've told this one on the podcast, where I went to a Raw in Springfield, Massachusetts, when I was a kid, and on the Titantron, I was in like the back corner, so I was directly facing the Titantron. I remember there was a pole there blocking my view. It was terrible. And they kind of, because you don't have commentary when you're at Raw, obviously, as anybody who's gone
Yeah.
knows. So you don't know what's going on. They're just trotting people out. You see on the Titantron, it's like something Kane is coming up next, like a Kane tag team match, I believe it was. So, and then they cut to a commercial and it just gets quiet for like 3-4 minutes. But I knew, even as a kid, I knew the first thing that's going to happen when this show comes back from break, because this was back when Kane was coming out to the wall of explosion, just a boom, just like the super wall of flames, and they would just walk out. It was after they kind of cut that intro piano organ music. And I just knew that the first thing that's going to happen when this show returns from break is an explosion, and no one's going to know what's going on. So I literally sat there with my ears plugged for, I don't know, 4 minutes in the crowd. And I just watched everyone around me. I heard it. I saw it. It went off. Boom. But it didn't make me jump in my seat, because I was sitting there like with my ears plugged for the past 5 minutes, and everybody else kind of, oh my God, dropping their popcorn and everything. It was great.
Oh, that's good.
I just knew. I don't know. I just knew. I was like, they're gonna get us with this explosion coming back from commercial. But yeah, I don't know. It just brought me back. Even like I said, the NWO, which now much maligned between Hogan's utter garbage reputation, all the stories of Hall and Nash burying people, Bischoff kind of coming in and out of favor. Really, I think the unsung hero of the NWO is Sean Waltman, right? He's probably looks the best right now.
I think he does. Yeah.
People are waiting for his comeback.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was definitely not well liked in the wrestling world. I mean, maybe backstage by his friends he was, but the fans were not behind Six or X-Pac for
X-Pac heat, man. That's what they used to call it. They just hated him, not in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the fans came back around on X-Pac maybe when he teamed with Kane. That was one of my favorite tag teams.
I think so.
X-Pac and Kane.
Yep.
But yeah, who else was in the Hall of Fame there the other night? The Bellas.
Yeah.
I mean, even people that I didn't necessarily, that wasn't, they weren't like my guy or my favorite wrestler. Just, it's always good to watch people go in the Hall of Fame. Like you can tell that they appreciate it, that maybe they didn't get what they wanted. Maybe they all were not the WrestleMania headlining champion that they wanted to be, or they didn't have the RVD. Like I was just screaming about RVD. He didn't, he smoked some weed and that was the end of his WWE title run,
Yeah.
And it's like all these people went left instead of going right. And, everyone's got their should have made better moments where they wish maybe they got injured, or maybe the fans just wish that WWF or Vince saw what the fans saw. But then at the end of it, no matter what happens, it's like you get to just look back and say, well, I did what I did. I accomplished what I accomplished. So all those choke slams that were packed into that Kane montage, it's like he did that. He granted one of his title runs, he was only WWE champion for a day, but it's like they can look back, and it's even just fun. Just maybe I didn't like watching the Bellas week to week, you know what I mean? But just even watching them go up and get their sadly 5 minutes,
I mean, you're right though. You could tell that they were honored to be in the Hall of Fame. That is nice to see when someone is actually honored about it and puts the respect on it.
Plus, I don't know about you, I have one of those marker boards up in my basement with everybody's name, and then a bunch of yarn and thumbtacks connecting everybody's name. Every time somebody mentions somebody's name in the Hall of Fame speech, I make a connection. If these people are connected. So I've got this interwoven chalkboard in my basement. You don't have one?
No. I don't have enough space.
I smoke cigarettes and I maintain it.
That sounds fun.
And Pepe Sylvia is scribbled on it in large letters. No. What else? Anything else from the Hall of Fame? I mean, it was definitely a week ago. What did you think of the NWO? They brought out the NWO belt. Like,
whatever. They're not cool. Like you said, you got to respect NWO. It was huge. I always do respect it, but yeah, they're, especially Hogan, they're just not cool anymore. It was just like shut up, lame.
Yeah, it was cool. Like that was one thing that I did feel watching it back was like, okay, like I almost felt like I felt like my daughter's obviously too young for any of this, but I felt like I wanted to sit there and be like, no. I know this looks like trash. I'm watching it with you. I'm watching this trash with you. But at the time, trust me, it was cool.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be
Like
now.
I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. It looks stupid. Eric Bischoff is coming in here in the middle of a snowstorm on a garbage truck. For what reason? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
But it was when it happened, it was cool.
Yeah. And I guess we'll just have to wait for who do you think is going to go in when they finally induct the Wolf Pack into the Hall of Fame?
Oh God.
So we got to
Maybe
put
let
Kevin, Big Kev, Kevin Nash, right?
Big Kev. Yep.
Sting.
Sting.
Who's next? What do you think?
I mean, is this how they sneak Luger into the Hall of Fame?
Are they? I mean, I feel like what's his deal? Why can't he just go in? Why can't he just go in?
Why can't you just walk up there and go in?
Well, I mean, he can
Damn rude.
He can get a plaque. They can still give him a plaque, but I mean, Lex Luger is Lex Express.
Conan.
No. So if you put Lex in there, I just looking back at the Wolfpack, it's so funny that Lex, like, what was this group? Who thought of this?
I know. Like when you learn about all the like backstage bullshit, and you're thinking to yourself like, Lex Luger and Sting.
Like they're dressing like Tupac. They've got Conan in the group, and they're all halfway speaking Spanish. And for some odd reason, this brooding character that's been up in the rafters for 13 months, he somehow decided to just become a cool hipster babyface, paint his face red for some fucking reason. Why was your face red, Sting? Like what made, like, it took you 13 months to come down from the rafters. How long did it take you to decide to fucking paint your face red? Seems like it was a pretty overnight decision. Listen. And then you got Luger. Like I said, they're dressing like Tupac. They're speaking Spanish. And you've got Lex Luger. What is this?
Lex Luger is an idiot when he speaks English. So,
I mean, it was just, he was definitely the person who looked the most out of place, I thought, the Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen. I loved Kevin Nash when I was young. I love the Wolfpack. When Sting joined the Wolfpack, I was hyped.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool too. It's just such a stupid thing. It's just so stupid, though.
If they put the Wolfpack in the Hall of Fame, they should just stop doing the Hall of Fame.
No, I mean, it's inevitable because you got to ring out that NWO, like, anything NWO with Hall, Nash, and Hogan. Like, they'll probably, like, how they make action figures where they're wearing a certain outfit? They're going to do it with the Hall of Fame. Like, they're going to induct Hall, Nash, and Hogan from Bash at the Beach.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to, every year, they're just going to have some Hogan, Hall, or Nash incorporated every year, Like Razor Ramon, he's already in the Hall of Fame. Okay, well, Razor Ramon, the night he lost to the 1-2-3 Kid. How about that?
Yeah. How about the first ladder match on pay-per-view, Razor Ramon?
Razor Ramon from that documentary where he went to that indie show and couldn't even stand.
That's definitely a Hall of Fame worthy performance.
Kevin Nash from when he came back to face CM Punk and he texted Triple H or whatever, and it was that stupid storyline.
Oh yeah, when he came back and took a tag into the ring and tore his quad. Kevin
Nash with a torn quad.
Gotta have it
in the it's Hall of Fame. It's Hall of Fame worthy performance.
Just put his torn quad in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, there we go. Nash's torn quad.
Sid's broken leg from that Nitro when he jumped off the second rope.
Goldberg's bloody arm from when he punched the limo.
Oh, God.
No, I do feel like that they could get more WCW guys in the Hall of Fame. Like we're talking about Luger. Like, in my opinion, you could just as easily just say Luger's running WCW Hall of Fame.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
It's
true. Yeah. I love All American Lex too. Like, that was right when I was starting to like really understand and watch wrestling, and I loved when we went to the Intrepid. If the Lex Express had come by, I would have ran there. I was so excited.
But yeah, I mean, like, just guys like that, like guys who had a run in WCW, maybe if it wasn't enough in WWF, like where is like the Hollywood Blondes. Like is Pillman in the Hall of Fame?
In the Hart Foundation.
Well, no, the Hart Foundation's not in the Hall of Fame, are they?
Yeah, they got in.
But was it just the tag team or was it the whole?
No, I think it was the whole. Oh, good question. I think it was the whole group though.
Everyone but Owen.
No, you're right. It wasn't. So it was just the tag team Hart Foundation. But now everyone. So Owen's not in, but Bulldog's in now.
I don't know what they would do about someone like Pillman. Like, I mean, obviously they're not going to ever put Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame, but I wonder is Pillman's story really bad enough where they want to avoid it? Like he passed away. Like they can still put him in a Hall of Fame. He still deserves it, I think, if he's not already in.
I think he does deserve it. He should be in. Yeah, Pillman, WCW. What about the Steiner brothers? They're not in the Hall of Fame yet, are they?
Oh my God. Are you kidding? That's crazy. They should have been in there like a long time ago.
It's just you can't get Scott Steiner in a room with too many people. He starts losing his mind.
Well, no, the problem is you can't separate him from his calculator. He's too busy doing Steiner math.
That's
From that thing is like 10 years old now. That Steiner math thing is from like 2011 or something. Isn't that crazy?
Oh God.
So
yeah,
weird.
that is.
But yeah, so now we are no longer talking about the Hall of Fame. This has nothing to do with WrestleMania 37, so we should just wrap it up, I think.
All right, sounds good.
But yes, this has been our WrestleMania 37 weekend review, basically. We should probably, on our next episode, find time to talk about AEW, which we will. But obviously, biggest week of the year on WWE's calendar. We're going to talk about that. We watched wrestling every night last week. So what else is there to talk about besides that? So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you as always. Be kind, subscribe, watch Wrestling Pod.
Armbar.
Yep.
Drop kick. Tope card hero. Tope suicida. Yeah.
Suicida.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Ready? Tope suicida. The Watch Wrestling Podcast with Mike Wellman. Is this it? Is this all you got for me? Is this it, bro?